Alright, so I'm going to be doing a VOD review for Niklasu, a high plat, low diamond tank player that mostly plays Reinhardt. And you say you chose Hog this game because they had a Doom. Um, this is going to sound crazy, but Hog is like not super great into Doom, right? Hogs, for starters, are really awkward tank to play, especially if like you don't kind of like one trick them. As you climb in ranks, probably in your range, it's not going to make that much of a difference. But his problem is that his range profile is like super inconsistent, right? So like when you have Hook, you have like the second longest tank range in the game, more or less. And when you don't, you're a shotgun character, right? And it's really awkward to like to play around that kind of thing, right? And against like a hypermobile tank like Doomfist, he can like kind of ignore you a lot, right? Because of that, because you just don't have that consistent range profile, right? Yeah, you're only really threatening to him up close, and that leads him to easily ignore you, either by taking the correct pathing or just waiting out your hook or something like that, right? And yeah, I will say in general, right, character swaps are like not super important if you want to get better at the game. Obviously, there will come a time where like if you pick Reinhardt and you're playing against like Junk Farah, Ball, Kiri Mercy or something like that, like, and you just can't get on anyone no matter what. Yeah, maybe you should swap, but like most of the time it's not necessary. And I bring up that Ryan like example because you say you're a Ryan player, right? So yeah. Anyways, yeah, I watched most of the replay. I think right now your primary three issues are that you're not playing in like the correct position, I should say, right? And when I say that, I mean more specifically, you're not like playing around corners and looking to like push into like open space, I guess, when you have your cooldowns available and when like it's actually safe to do so, right? Basically, right, if you don't have your cooldowns, you can't walk forward. And if there are a lot of people actively looking at you, you can't walk forward. And you're like low on HP. That's also sometime you cannot walk forward, right? And I'll like show you kind of like a scenario of like what I mean exactly by this, just to kind of like make more sense of this, right? You're not putting yourself in positions where like you can do damage often enough, right? And you're not allowing your team to like take angles themselves to like actually help you push forward, right? Like I said, I'll explain this, kind of show you an example of what I mean very soon, right? So. Secondly, you need to use cover way more often, right? You're constantly kind of in the open, eating a ton of damage, right? And I would kind of just spoil it. Point three is that you're like not conserving your ammo at all, and you're taking these engagements across the map, right? When you're just like doing like no damage, and part of it's because like your aim could be better for sure, but part of it's because you're playing shotgun characters, right? Like if you peek without your knife or your hook, and you're just peeking people like 20 meters or something like that, right? Well, I mean, like, what do you expect to do, really? Like, it's just a problem with the characters, right? That they just can't peek these long angles against like DPS, like Cassidy, for example, and just trade favorably, right? Like he's gonna like farm headshots in you, especially when you're in Hog, and like you're gonna max out like I don't know 60 damage on him, right? He's gonna constantly be hitting you for like 150 damage per second, right? Yeah. And like the thing is, yeah, you have the HP to tank it, but if you don't need to, like there's no reason. Literally, just don't peek them. Find an angle or find like a pathing on the map to walk closer, and then when you're in position to actually like challenge him with your kit, then that's when you want to do something, right? And part of it's like on Hog, right? You need to make sure you're always loaded. I don't think you had that mistake or that problem this replay. Um, but you just don't want to be shooting people across the map because like I said, you just don't do anything, right? Anyways, getting on to the replay here, right? I'll kind of showcase what I mean on this first play, right? So like nothing really out of the ordinary, right? Nothing out of the ordinary yet, right? You're just kind of poking the Doom, whatever. So this is kind of what I'm talking about here. You see, you're exposing yourself really early into the LOS of like their entire team, right? You see like literally everyone on their team can shoot you. You can say everyone on the team can shoot the Doom, but the Doom has the block ability, right? So if he can situationally face tank a lot of players as long as you guys don't have a stun, right? But like on Queen, you really can't do this, right? So what you could have done instead is either just hit a knife on him, keep like playing the corner, until he uses cooldowns, and then you commit your cooldowns, like for example your shout and your axe and your knife pull to run on him. Or alternatively, you could walk this way, right? And you just happen to not be contested at all and get a free angle on their backline, or closer angle here, right, on their backline, right? Or an angle on their Doomfist, right? And your whatever, I don't know, Juno can still heal you from here, right? You know, your Zen and whatever can still shoot down main here, right? You have options. It's something to consider, right? You don't want to blow all your cooldowns. I know obviously you shout out of spawn or whatever. On this Doomfist, it has all of its cooldowns too, right? Because like you see, you just kind of give him punch, and like that's not great. But you see now this is a big problem, right? Because now this is like exactly what I was talking about. You see your entire team's backing up because they're getting pressured by the Tracer, right? You see your Flower is like really far away too, and she can't do anything yet. While you're walking in to the middle of like effectively 4 players, and you can't get healed any longer, right? And you can get shot by literally like almost their entire team, right? So you can't walk forward when you don't have your cooldowns, right? You see you have 0 cooldowns, and you just walk in, and there's like no advantage, right? Both tanks right now can have 0 cooldowns, but Doomfist come back online earlier, right? And you're walking into his space because his entire team can shoot you, but your team can't shoot him yet, right? That's positionally like what do you want to be looking for. Again, right? You did the same thing. You're low on HP. I'm not gonna pause like this in the future. I really want to hammer this in because this is kind of like tank 101, right? It's incredibly important to get this stuff down right, because if you do it wrong, like you're kind of doing it right now, you see you're just getting blown up every single time you're peaking because you're not dealing with the Tracer, for example, right? Or you're not creating an angle, or you're just going too early, right? Like those are kind of your options of how to break this hold when they're already set up before you, right? Just kind of running it down main when they're already like present on point is like not what you want to do. Here, obviously, you're just gonna die here. Yeah. You had the opportunity to maybe run away. Not the end of the world though. I mean, that death isn't the end of the world, right? Because they could have staggered you. But obviously you completely misplayed like that mid. So we swap Hog. I don't think it's like a bad choice. I think he's pretty good in their comp, right? Like there's not a lot that can punish you right now. Yeah, but like if you're not a Hog player, I wouldn't play Hog personally, right? He's, like I said, a kind of an awkward character to use. But if on the chance you are interested in playing Hog, I have a lot of material on this channel. Pretty much exclusively Roadhog related, right? So, yeah, you're gonna learn another thing or two. It's alright, he's a little out of range, right? This is kind of what I was talking about, the ammo conservation thing, right? You see, like, I mean, yeah, you're missing, but you see, you just lost 300 HP, and even if you had like 100% accuracy, maybe you kill the cast, but chances are like he'll get healed before the pellets connect or whatever, when he rolls or takes cover or something, and you just lost all your HP to maybe kill a cast, right? Alternatively, what you could have done is literally sat around the corner here, waited to get healed, right? And then just like walked here, and now you have an access to like this angle here. You have an access to this angle here, right? You see you have like all these angles just because you're playing cover and like a more favorable position for yourself, right? Let me rewatch it for a second. I was too busy explaining that. Right, you see the difference. You have your hook online. As Hog, you want to be throwing hook as like often as possible, right? I think that's another thing if you're going to continue playing Hog to work on. But I don't generally think that's like a big issue for you, right? But if you literally just walked to this corner sooner, right? If the Doomfist wants to commit on your team, he's going to make the same mistake you made on the first mid fight, right? Because now he jumps in to your entire team, but you see now you turn for him, and now like your Cass, Zen, and Juno can all shoot him, and your whatever Pharah, and you can just literally sit right here, right? You see, you can't get shot by literally anyone if you do this, right? And either turn around and hook the Doomfist, or try to like capitalize on the fact that his team is going to try to like commit with the Doomfist, try to get a pick with him, right? Like the choice is yours, but like once you're in this position here, which you could have taken way sooner, right? Yeah, you could have just immediately like turned the fight that way, right? I would say, like, right, if you were there sooner, you could have just thrown in the trap of this corner. Just literally just hold still here, hook the Doomfist and killed him, or look to hook someone on his backline, right? And run away, right? And that's a good time to do it because the Doomfist is committing his cooldowns to your backline, which means he can't use them to commit on you, right? You see, because you kind of peek in the open and hesitate, you just lose all your HP again. And get forced out anyways, right? Here, don't commit, you're down 2. Okay. I don't think that was intentional, but... Right. I mean, nice hook, right? But you see, you just lose the fight because you're down 2. You just had a reset, right? I think you mentioned that on this fight, or this point. Like, you had a problem with staggering, and that's like pretty obvious there, right? You were just down 2 players. If you notice you're getting shot a lot this direction, you can just walk through here, right? One, not here, but you can catch the Tracer if she commits at the wrong time. But here, like, you see literally no one can shoot you on your walk up, and now you can instantly commit to this angle here. Right, and since you have self-heal, you don't have to like super worry about like exactly where your supports are, right? That's kind of like the thing about Hog. You can be semi-independent from your supports a lot of the times, right? To force angles for your team so they can actually walk forward, right? Because you here, like, you can't really do anything, right? But you here, like, playing around this corner here is really dangerous because you can literally hook anyone in the team and just get a one shot for your team to walk forward, right? Or take a ton of attention. Small tip against tanks, don't melee them unless you can actually one-shot them, right? Which is like when they're like below 200 HP. It just slows down your rate of fire. I'll say here, when you don't have hook, right, kind of the general cooldown thing, don't look to walk forward. But like, it's not the end of the world. They used 3 ults and you guys lost the fight. Like, it's gonna happen when they use 3 ults, right? I wouldn't worry about that one too much, right? Again, right, you just kind of keep peeking this angle wide for no reason, right? But this gives you the cast opportunities to farm you, and you just can't do anything in return, right? I'll bring that up again. It's pretty important, which is why I can bring it up, obviously. Okay, very nice, right? Here, right, you see you're kind of like standing around no man's land. When you get the kill, your like thing should be like walk this way, right? To try to split the Doomfist from his team, right? Because he has all of his cooldowns right now. You're not going to be able to kill him. You want to walk this way, so if he like walks to you, he dies. If he goes into your team, he dies, right? And if you don't hit the Doomfist, you can start splitting him from his backline, right? It's just more important to take good positioning and try to take kills, right? I'll say if you just immediately started walking forward, right? Once you orbited, you would have been here and you would have had a much better angle in that brig, or just been able to walk into it in the first place, right? I think you specifically asked about Hog Gold. It's like awful against Doomfist, honestly. He just has 3 cooldowns that pretty much just full counter it. If you don't have your hook, right, to like cancel his block. Here, if you hooked him out of block, you probably could have killed him. But yeah, if Doomfist is in an enclosed area, you should like honestly look to like blow someone else up on his team that has less mobility. Here, right, don't keep chasing him, right? You see you're like hard focusing this Doom, and it's kind of like screwing you over. This Tracer just pretty much solo kills you. She was shooting you there for like a good like 5 seconds. I guess the thing is, like, people swap Hog to like hard focus Doom, but you should still have like good fundamentals and be looking to isolate him from his backline, unless he overextends, right? That's kind of like the thing with Hog in every tank, right? If you have the opportunity to do so, just look for the backline pick because you can one shot, especially on Hog. You use the one shot literally his entire team except Doom, right? It's like very difficult to do anything in 4v5s, right? Rocket barrage incoming. And needless to say, right, if you just turn for the Tracer, probably you may have died, but she wouldn't have been able to like shoot you for free and get the easy pulse on you because you would have been knocking her all over the place, right? It's pretty important. Here, good perk choice, right? I don't really talk about perks too often, honestly. Like, the replay viewer kind of obscures them, obviously, right? So, but this is the one you would be picking. Okay, nice hook. I will say this Doom definitely could have saved his Moira and pushed you on point and killed you. If he was higher ranked, right? Because you saw him commit to this angle early. What he should have done instead is literally just stand here, right? You have cover from this direction, right? Because your entire model isn't visible. And you have cover from anyone that takes an angle this way, right? Because if someone's standing here, they can't see your entire model, right? And if they stand here, they also can't see it, right? And you can easily, the point is you can easily back up. Here, right, you see, like, you're this distance away from the cover, in no, like, in neutral, right? Because both teams have 5 players, and you can get blown up for this on Hog very easily, right? This Doom could have punched you out of your hook, punched you on point, and just, like, killed you with this Doom, right? Because you took all that poke against the cast while definitely could have tried to hook him. That's different there because the Doom, like, left the fight, right, for a second or two. He dropped and punched you, which means he can't commit, right? Now, see, this is where it's really important, right? If you literally just stand here, you see the cast can't see you. I mean, it's sometimes it's really that simple, and you'll just, like, literally, like, take half or even less of the damage you're currently taking just by, like, playing cover a bit better, right? Making sure you're not getting shot by people you don't want to get shot by, more or less. It's fine, right? I'm usually not too worried about hook hack, obviously. I think macro-wise, it's fine you go top and, like, contest the top. Just, it could have been better cover-wise, right? Okay. Totally intentional. It happens sometimes. Yeah, if you know he's close, you don't have to be so scared, right? You just got the pick on the Tracer, and their Moira is still respawning, right? If you see they're all here, like, they can't kill you right now. You can just afford kind of just peek wide, shoot this guy, try to bait out his cooldowns, and then hook him, right? To get the kill on him. So you just kind of jiggle peeking, and it's messing up your aim for no reason. Right, no reason to melee again. It's fine, you're completely occupying the D. I'm not really a big fan of playing in here because, like, it's just too hard to run away, and, like, you're too easy to farm damage on, right? It also kind of baits your team in, right? You see your cast is playing forward with you, and he's not good enough to back out soon enough. I mean, granted, neither are you. So you're kind of baiting your team by playing in here over and over again. But really what you should have been doing is going forward one time to look for, like, an intro pick with your hook. And once you miss, right, or hit it, you just back out. So your team doesn't overextend in here and, like, just get swarmed, right? Because the sightlines are just too short for your team to want to play in there. Here, you definitely have more time to go for a hook here, right? This is kind of like I was talking about hookup time. You could have probably gone for 2 hooks in the time it takes you to throw one. But that's fine. I mean, so the big takeaway this fight is that, one, you probably shouldn't have ulted there because you're already down 2, right? Like I said earlier, like, hog ult is just not very good in the open, right? It's not like Grav where you just, like stun lock people. Yeah, you kind of need very specific circumstances to actually get consistent value out of it. But the big problem, the primary problem that fight is that you're just, like, overextended way too long positional wise, right? And you, like, baited your team to play in a bad spot. But when you don't have hook, you just should give space, right? When you don't have cooldowns, you got to give some space because you're punishable when you don't have your cooldowns online, right? In some form or another. Yeah, that's kind of the big problem that fight. Okay, good choice, speed perk. I would say in this composition, right, if you're going to play Hog, your primary hook target should be the cast, right? His range is about the same as yours, and he has, like, the least mobility or least ways of blocking, right? Like, Doom can jump away from it, Tracer can blink away, Break can shield it, Moira can fade. Cast only has a roll, and it's, like, not very good, right? It's pretty easy to catch him with rolls. And he's also kind of the most dangerous person on their team for you because he does by far the most damage, right? So if you just look to hook him more, right? you should do better in the future, right? I say that because you saw he was shooting you from right side. If you would just walk here and then like bait that you're going this way and then walk this way, you can probably hook him, right? He'll probably get caught off guard. That's all right, whatever. You're still getting good damage on this break. Here, you were using cover, right? When you see, like, here, no reason to heal. You're pretty much full HP, and literally no one can shoot you, right? Like, you see, you forced the brig and the cast away because you did a ton of damage to him, right? What you should be doing now is just full dumping your magazine into the Doom and trying to, like, hook him out of his block and kill him, right? Okay, good kill regardless. Obviously, you should have kept one in the chamber there. When he's doing this, you can walk into him, right? When you're loaded, you can like literally just shoot him in the head once at a time. It takes him literally like 6 seconds or so, maybe 7, to actually be able to charge enough to kill you. So, like right now, you can literally just walk into him and like one-shot him. If your Moira's on point, I may go back for the Tracer. Small tip against especially mobile tanks, if they do the hard work of bringing themselves close to you, don't hook them at close range, right? You just kind of have to rely on your mechanics. You should be looking to shoot them until they use their defensive cooldown, poking them out of their defensive cooldown to like one-shot them afterwards, right? I mean, here obviously it doesn't matter because he's just all alone. But like in the middle of team fights, it does matter a lot. That's fine, right? See, once you miss the hook, literally just take cover, and just change your angle, right? Like Hog is just not good if they know exactly where you are all game, right? You could be saying, "Oh, I'm building my supports all charge," but really, what your supports want to be doing is, especially with Hog, is like doing damage themselves and creating as many angles of distraction as possible to make it incredibly difficult for the enemy team to walk forward, right? So, in order to do that, obviously you just can't be getting shots, so they actually have the opportunity to like DPS themselves or like create a distraction themselves, right? I would have gone for a hook there. No downside really. Okay, nice. You can definitely walk forward. You see, you have your hook and you're scared. But you're doing the correct thing here of only looking at the cast, right? So that means, like, it sounds really dumb, but literally the only person that can shoot you right now is the cast, and he's never going to kill you, right? Like, you literally have to go AFK here with all your resources. You are full HP and you have all your breather right now for him to be able to kill you, right? So either go for a hook on him or use the fact that Ana doesn't have a hook, walk this way and try to hook one of their supports, right? Or did I accidentally say Ana doesn't have hook? I meant Ana doesn't have nade, obviously. You saw her use it earlier on you. So she still has it off cooldown, right? So like you should be going like as soon as possible to try to make something happen in this scenario, both when the tank is dead and the Ana doesn't have nade, right? So you still have it. Definitely could have gone for okay. Unfortunate. You see, you give her time to get it back. Because you just don't go for any hooks, right? You literally could have hooked twice in the time that Ana had her nade down, right? Maybe like 1.8 times, but like obviously that's nitpicking, right? There, if you aimed a little bit down, right, you probably would have been able to kill her. It's okay. You see, you're playing forward again for too long, right? You see when their entire team is here, you just can't hold inside the house, right? One of the problems is that the Tracer's flanking behind you and killing someone off, making it a 4v5, right? But another problem is they just rush you too early, and Hog cannot deal with getting rushed, right? You need to like back out way sooner and like play point or play top, you know, something like that, and try to punish them as they walk through the choke points. So your team can actually like help create angles and doesn't get like split from you. Kind of the same problem as earlier, right? They just kind of flood you in there, and they're making the mistake you made the very first, or you're making the mistake again that you made the very first fight. Let me. I was too distracted to like talk about this ult. This is fine value, right? You bait out Doom ult. Like I said, your ult's like kind of garbage in this matchup. Here you could have been just playing cover a bit better, right? So you get the ult out. When you see you're this low and you see the Anna's here, you don't want to be peeking this, right? Literally what you want to do, just walk here, and you see you can't get shot by anyone except the Moira anymore, right? And you can either just AFK here, rotate over here, go all the way back here, wait for your breather, recharge a bit, and then contest point from over here. But you have a lot of time to stall here. And obviously what you do depends on exactly how quickly they commit, right? Like if you see the Dooms committing on your Echo or whatever, then you want to stay there. But if they're not walking forward, then you don't have to just stay there, right? Sure, I'm sure you can see there, if you just played cover a bit better, you would not have died. Right? Honestly, you have 99%, so it's not like the end of the world. In these positions, this Hog, I'm looking for anyone but the Doomfist, right? If you hook anyone else, they just get one shot, so. Not to say hooking the Doom's bad value, right? But he's just like the least valuable person to hook. Because he's not going to die, right? You'll force out cooldowns, but he's not going to die. Whereas otherwise, you kill someone else and they literally have no cooldowns on their character, right? Regardless if they use them or not. Probably shouldn't have been walking in there. Maybe it's a bit of a panic. But like when you see the cast high noon and you don't have hook and he's not close, you just kind of have to wait. You see, you walk in here and you split yourself from your backline, right? The cast, this is why you don't want to do it. The cast is controlling every angle up here because your team has to worry about it more than you do, which allows the entire enemy team just to shoot you at like no fear, right? And you just get like spammed with all the Ana's cooldowns and die from it, right? Hog's not a character you can just run in with. You're just way too frail. Okay, somehow you live. I think you're still gonna lose the fight, yeah. I didn't watch this fight in particular. Okay. Nice hook. I don't think your mechanics are a problem, per se. And why I say that, I mean like just raw aim. Okay, wow, that's the end of the game. Yeah, so I think you just panic a bit that fight. But regardless, in closing, I'll say, right, you have to consider your positioning more. You should be looking as tank to look to walk to positions, or like move to positionings where you can exert more pressure on the enemy team than their tank can like exert on yours, right? And that usually means like contesting choke points in one form or another, right? And I hope I made it clear. Like there's different examples of how you like sometimes split yourself from the enemy team or from your own team, and how you like didn't capitalize on the times the Doomfist like split himself from his own teammates, right? Secondly, cover usage is still a problem, right? You see, you could have blocked a ton of damage just by playing closer to cover a lot of times, and right, taking like sometimes it literally you just could have stood like a meter or two different from where you were standing and taken 0 damage a lot of times, right? And that's a big problem as you rank up because that frees up. That gives you 1, more time to actually do stuff, and 2, that allows your supports not to like be focused on heal botting you. 3, you need to work on like I'll say like distance/ammo management, right? If you don't have like the range currently to like actually impact the fight consistently, just don't peek and find a different pathing to get yourself in a range where you can actually impact the fight, right? That's kind of like the general rule, right? So for example, right, on Hog, if you don't have hook, don't peek wide angles to let the enemy team just farm you for damage, right? When you have hook, go ahead and like peek those angles to try to get a one shot on someone, right? If you have any further questions, feel free to ask, and I hope this helps.